Fatty liver affects 1 in 3 adults, and a lot of them aren't overweight or don't drink alcohol at all. So what is the problem? If you've ever been told your liver enzymes are high, or if you have liver inflammation, this video is for you. We'll be covering what fatty liver actually is, why so many people have it, and most importantly, yes, it's reversible, but it depends on what stage your fatty liver is and how soon we act on it. Hi everyone, I'm Maya, the dietitian, nutritionist, and founder of Nutrition Revitalized. Basically, let's first look at what fatty liver is. So liver is a metabolic control center. It has lots of different functions, and some main ones are processing nutrients, balancing blood sugars, and briefly handling fats and sending them away. But when our system gets overloaded, when there's a lot of glucose that gets converted to glycogen and stored in the liver, and when there's a lot of fructose that goes into our liver as well and be stored there. Now, when there's a lot of fats in our blood, that eventually overloads our system and gets coked up by the liver. So what then happens is fats start moving into the liver cells, and that's what we call fatty infiltration. What also happens is when there's a lot of excess glucose stored and your capacity of glycogen storage is maxed out, a lot of that also begins to convert into fats and stay within the liver. So what we really need to be watching is what is in our diet, because fatty liver is very asymptomatic. We don't often realize that we have it. Some early signs of fatty liver could be an elevation in your liver enzymes, specifically GGT, ALT, and AST. These may often be slowly increasing, especially if you've tested your bloods every year or every other year. Another way to identify fatty liver is to do an ultrasound that would be able to note if there are fats around your liver or between your liver cells, but it does not actually give us further information around inflammation or scarring. Whereas a fibroscan, if it's available in your country, would be a more specific detection of cirrhosis or fibrosis or the level of inflammation that's in your liver. So if you haven't done a blood test, I would definitely encourage you to speak to your doctor and do a blood test for liver enzymes. You're also at a higher risk if you do have diabetes or if you do have high cholesterol levels already, because this is a sign that there's a lot of sugars or fats circulating in your blood, and that needs to go somewhere, and that often ends up being the liver. Now let's look at foods and what these main contributors are going to be. So let's cover fats first, because that's easy and straightforward. Anything that's high in saturated fat is going to lead to further inflammation in your body and increase the amount of triglycerides and bad cholesterol, which is your LDL cholesterol. So foods with saturated fat content would be meat, full-fat dairy products like cheese, milk. Other things would also be deep fried snacks, processed snacks, which often contain trans fat as a component as well. Now looking at foods that contain fructose, which is probably the main reason why fatty liver is so common these days, because a lot of manufactured processed snacks contain some form of fructose as an artificial sweetener. So yes, they're able to declare that there's a lot lesser sugar, for example, but the presence of high fructose corn syrup definitely means that there's no glucose, so it might be diabetic friendly from that point of view because it doesn't increase your glucose levels, but it's slowly harming your liver instead. Fructose is mainly fruit sugar. So you might be wondering why that's a problem, because fruits have been fine for so many years. You need to understand that fruits are packaged around fiber, which really protects and slows down how quickly that sugar is released into your blood. What really harms the liver is when there's a huge dose of fructose that's dumped into your blood within a short span of time. With fruits, it's often also packed with things like vitamin C, antioxidants, polyphenols, and potassium, which is really protective. It has the capacity to reduce oxidative stress and inflammation in your body. So these two, along with the fiber and slow releasing fructose as a property, really makes fruit a very safe food to consume, and it's not going to contribute to fatty liver. What is really the question here is artificially processed fructose that's often present in manufactured products. So for example, high fructose corn syrup in maybe caramel sauce, your excessive consumption of honey, things that actually have natural sources of fruit juice or fruit juice concentrate, for example, in jams or in candies. Yes, it's natural, but that juicing process or the concentration of fruit juices really means that the fiber is absolutely taken away. And when this is commercially done, it would have been processed, extracted, and manufactured months ago that the nutritional content would have definitely depleted. So always read the ingredients list and have a look at whether it contains anything that screams fructose to you, because that's what you want to be avoiding. So things like chewing gums or cordials, concentrates, gummies, these tend to have a lot of fructose content. So you'd rather switch to natural products that doesn't have high fructose corn syrup or any of these other sweeteners. Sometimes it's also better to just consume the known than the unknown. For example, table sugar is probably best rather than switching to artificial sweeteners or other things that have reduced glucose or sugar content by increasing the amount of fructose, because fructose is certainly more harmful in this picture. You also want to be mindful of crash dieting patterns, because when there's a period of excessive eating, maybe 3 days of the week and the other days where you're actually fasting, it really causes your body a lot of confusion. Your liver does not know what your metabolic rate is and how much energy is coming in, so it tries to be conservative and save a bit more and store a bit more. Let's paint a scenario. Imagine you're working for an employer who has very inconsistent patterns to pay you. Say 1 week or 1 month they pay you fortnightly, and the next month they pay you every once in 3 weeks. Your budgeting for that month and how much you spend would be very conservative, because there's such an unpredictable pattern of when you're getting paid. And your body is very much the same. It's going to try and conserve and save calories and store it as energy and be less likely to burn it off as freely as it was before that crash dieting pattern, because it wants to save energy and use it for vital organs. Whether you eat or not, your heart and your brain and your lungs always need to function. So this is what really happens when there's a very inconsistent pattern of eating, and this really applies within a day as well. So try to eat consistent hours and try to have your meals earlier in the day rather than later. Your heavier meal essentially could be lunch rather than dinner, because unless you're working night shifts or out and about at night, your energy usage at night is a lot lesser. Which means that if your heavier meal is at dinner, then your storage is also going to be a lot higher, because what you've just consumed is well in excess of what your body needs. And this then leads to an excessive storage of these nutrients that you probably didn't need, and also further leads to fatty liver if there is an opportunity for those energy stored to be released and burnt off. That then leads on to intermittent fasting, which can be quite helpful in this circumstance, because if you do have a window of time, especially overnight, where you're consistently fasting and not consuming snacks late at night, it really allows your body to detox naturally and burn away calories that is stored. So, for example, if you were to fast for 12 hours or 15 hours overnight, for example, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. or even 7 p.m. to about 10 a.m., that really allows you to reduce the amount of calories that your liver stores and prevents them being converted to fat. Something else that you can also think of is doing some form of activity. So this can be a cardio, this can be some walking, and this can also be in the form of strength training. So any sort of movement, and if it is quick enough for you to not be able to have a conversation continuously, that actually tells us that it's a good workout, it's a good cardio, because it actually increases your heart rate and more likely fat oxidation, which is fat burning. So there's a lot to think about there. Fatty liver is certainly silent, but very common these days. And the main thing to note is it's reversible if you act early. So early detection is key. Drop me a comment below on what you thought about this and any question that you have related to fatty liver. Until next time, bye for now.